everyone, my name is Beth and I am with Flying by the Seed of My Plants, and thank you for coming back. And in this video I just want to go over, if this is your first year starting seeds indoor, you know, you could save a lot of money just buying the seeds, but there is a bit of an investment, so you're kind of looking, if it's your first year and you're not sure if you really want to do this, or you're on a tight budget, there are ways that you can start indoors and, you know, maybe in the next few years start establishing more of the supplies. When I first started the seeds indoors, I used one of these, like a shop light. It has a clamp on it, and you just, you know, put it on a shelf. I went up to the hardware store and bought a plant light. It was at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. And that's how I started. I had a couple of these. And the very first thing I started from seed indoors was marigolds. And I guess I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I did it. And it was really exciting. So that was the first thing, my first year. And the first thing I ever grew was just the marigolds. So growing from seed, I found out, is not hard. You just have to kind of have an idea of what you're doing. Abby. Okay, so the other... Hang on one second. Okay. Abby is my dog. She's a black lab. She's about 3 years old. And usually when I start doing this or I get on the phone, she starts demanding attention. So anyhow, I gave her a little treat. So she's happy for a little bit. Okay, so getting back to starting your seeds indoor. Containers. What are you going to buy? What do you need? So you know, if you're on a tight budget, you can use solo cups. Plus they have those little clear, smaller cups, you know, that you can put your soil in and sow your seeds in there. And, you know, if you're on a tight budget. And then they sell these in stores, you know, if that works for you, to collect the water, you know, for drainage. You got to poke holes in the bottom. That's really important. So this, you know, if you're on a tight budget, I think at Costco's I got, I think it's over 200 of these, and for $9.99. I don't know what the price is today. I did buy this before everything started really going up. It could be the same price, so I don't know. I also use these now when I up pot. That has saved me on soil, and especially with my plant sale, to keep the cost down. Last year I did up pot all my tomatoes in this, because I used to up pot them in a container like this, which you could see uses a lot more soil. If they get too big, you kind of have to go larger. So that's why it's really important to, I'm not going to be starting my tomatoes until, let me see what it says here, somewhere around mid-March to maybe the 3rd week in March for the tomatoes. They grow really fast. And last year I stayed on track of starting my tomatoes not too early, and up potting in this was perfect. So anyhow, those are different things you can use. Another thing that I use now that, you know, like I said last year and the year before, maybe even the year before that, I did like over 200 tomatoes, over 200 peppers, and a lot of eggplant. And I did some herbs, of course, and different things like that. But so because I am growing so much, I went ahead and invested in the gardening cells. Like this size here, let me show this other thing. Okay, so this I bought. These, when you reference it, let's say if you're going to Google it to find what you're looking for, they call it a 1020 tray. And some of these trays have holes in it. So you got to make sure you're ordering what you want. So, of course, these do not have holes in them. They have little dents in there. They're not holes. The one year I made a mistake and ordered 10 of these, and they had holes. And I'm like, dang it, because you want it to hold the water. So then I ordered these. You can find this on Amazon. And they last for years, you know, as long as you take care of them. You rinse them out, clean them out every year. They'll last for years. I buy the heavy duty plastic. They also have different gardening sites. You might pay more money for it and get a heavier duty. I do have one on the bottom here I'm going to show you. But like now these cells go in the 1020 tray. So these will hold 72 starts when I fill this whole tray up. So I like that. You know, I start peppers in here because I'm going to grow so many. They also have this size. So this is great for starting peppers and tomatoes. Even if I am going to sell a lot, you won't have to up-pot them as quickly. But this fits, I think it's, okay, this will fit 56 cells in the 1020 tray. And you can order them in bulk. So, you know, I have ordered from Amazon, typically from Amazon. There's different gardening sites, whatever you can find a good deal, just Google it and then start comparing prices. So far, I think I have gotten good prices on these, but they do have reusable ones. I like using these. You're going to pay more for the heavy duty ones, like Bootstrap gardening supplies. They'll last for years. And the reason why I'm not going to use those is because if it's a plant sale, I'm going to be selling these. Some plants are going to go in this, and I don't care if I ever get them back, right? So I'm not going to use something that, like here, Petites. You know, I save this from the gardening sites every year when I have bought any plants. A lot of people give me, you know, if they buy plant starts at a greenhouse, a lot of people will give me their starts. So these are like really heavy duty. You can use them over and over again. The other one, if I start too soon and my plants are getting really big, I used to have to up-pot them in the larger containers, which I still can, you know, if I have to. But you're going to use more soil. And as far as my plant sale, I want to give the best deal that I can for people. So I got to figure out this year what I'm going to sell them for. The plants, tomato plants, I did for $2 last year. Depending on the price of soil this year and different things like that, will determine how much I'm going to sell my plants for. But, you know, it'll probably be between $2 and $3 a plant, and which is still cheaper than the greenhouses. Last year, I did sell them for $2 each, and when I went to the greenhouse, like Petites is around us, Maria Gardens, their tomato plants for the same size that I was selling was $4 each. And it's really sad because gardening used to be really affordable. I used to buy all my plants. And so to start learning how to start everything from seed is a really good idea. But it's going to be an investment. I mean, I think once you start and see what you got, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to do that every year. And that's when you can start investing in more. And if you're, you know, a gardener, and as long as you don't get too obsessed and like with your seeds, you can buy a lot of seeds. So I'm just going to warn you. Anyhow, so these are the containers. I wanted to show you that. And as far as the soil, when you start your seeds, the seed soil mix, you can go to the store and, like, I used to use the Jiffy seed starting mix. It's a very light and fluffy soil. It doesn't have any fertilizer in it. Maria Gardens, I went in there last year, so this is very important. If you have a garden site near you, ask them what they start their seeds in. Because I went to Maria Gardens to buy the Jiffy, because I was looking all over last year, and there was a lot that didn't have any yet. And I was looking for the Jiffy seed starting. And so I stopped at Maria Gardens thinking, well, they're a garden center, they'll have the Jiffy. Well, they didn't. So I asked the guy there, and he says, no, they start all their seeds with their own potting mix. And this is from Maria Gardens. So I looked at what's in here, and the ingredients, it's a blend of Canadian sphagnum peat moss, processed softwood bark, horticultural grade perlite that helps with the retaining the moisture. It says processed forest products and compost. So it doesn't actually have like your Miracle-Gro potting mix that has a fertilizer in it. You don't want to use that when you're starting your seeds. The actual, when you put the seeds in, the seed actually is providing the fertilizer for it to grow. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, some of the seeds are so, like a mustard seed, so small. And, it, you know, they just grow into a beautiful plant. And so when you're starting your seeds, that's where your fertilizer comes from in the beginning. So once you have your second set of leaves, or your true leaves, that's when you're going to, you know, when they get bigger, well, once they get their true leaves, I'd start using a little bit of fertilizer in there. I do the worm casting or the seaweed liquid, just a little, not a lot. And you definitely don't want to use like Miracle-Gro on your seedlings. You can kill them. I did that one year. It will burn them. I think I probably used too much. And with all that work and money spent, I probably killed half of my peppers. So you definitely do not want to add fertilizer too soon, or a heavy duty one, or fertilize too often. You want to follow the directions for seedlings on your fertilizer. But just to keep it simple for me, in the beginning, I will water with the liquid earthworm castings. You mix it in water. You know, I just follow the directions on the back. So that is the starting soil that, you know, you want to look for a seedling starting soil, seed starting mix, or, you know, ask your local gardening center, what do you use? And if they have something special like Maria Gardens, they start all their seeds in this. I did it last year and everything was great. And plus they sell them in bigger bags. So it saved me money rather than buying the smaller bags to get the bigger bag. In the long run, it was cheaper. Plus, with all the seeds that I do start, I like having a bigger bag. The Jiffy starting mix, I've only seen it in small bags. And it's like, last year, it was almost $7 for a small bag. So you can go through a lot. You can also make your own seed mix. And so I'm here, like the Coco Core. I did order some because I want to try it. And I can get into that another time. But anyhow, to make your own seed starting mix, I'm going to try it this year, and I'll show you what I do with that. But I ordered the Coco Core bricks and also vermiculite. And I'm going to put worm castings in there. It's an organic fertilizer. And not a lot, but just a little, just to mix it in there. So that's about your seed starting mix. And so here is the worm casting. I do buy a huge bag, but I use it. I use it when I up pot. I use it when I use it in my garden when I put my transplants in, and then you can always top coat it during the season. So I do use that. The other thing I do use, which it is expensive, so you could shop around, but I use Trifecta Plus. That is from MI Gardener's site. This one is 3 pounds. I have the bigger bag. I want to say it's 10 pounds. Because it's a lot bigger than this. I think it's bigger than 5 pounds. But anyhow, it's $50. But it gets me through the whole season. I use it when I up-pot my tomatoes, my peppers, my eggplant. Everybody that buys plants from me has Trifecta in the transplants that I up-potted. So they have a really good start. But you have to keep fertilizing through the year. I add fertilizer when I put it in the ground. But anyhow, getting off track here. Just talking about the seed starting. But these are different supplies you want to think about getting. So the seed starting soil, the containers, and here once I want to up pot, and also for winter sowing. And looking at our weather, I'm here in Northeast Ohio. We're not going to have, we're still having, it's really weird, it's January, and we're still like in the 40s and 50s during the day. And dry, no snow yet. So I don't want to start my winter sowing until I see snow in the prediction. And when I get into that, it'll probably be next week that I'll do a video on the winter sowing. And when I winter sow, I want to use, for those seeds, I'm going to use a good potting soil, a really good potting soil. I'm not going to use a seed starting mix. It could be a little confusing, but anyhow, this is for winter sowing. I absolutely love the Happy Frog. It is my favorite potting soil. So I will be using this when I do my winter sowing. And everybody has favorites. But when you winter sow, you want to get a good potting soil. You know, so anyhow, I'll be using this. And another thing to think about is markers. So sometimes when you order some of these, they will throw in markers. So if you're just doing a small amount, you know, I invested, I think I got over 200 of these right now. And to mark them, the best thing to use is like a UV marker, because once these go out in the sun and when you get it in your garden, you do want to mark, you know, what you planted there. Because, I mean, I have a variety of different tomatoes, a variety of different peppers, and they all kind of look the same in the beginning. And as they're growing until you start getting the tomatoes and you become familiar with that type of tomato. So I mark everything. And, you know, if you just do it with even with a Sharpie, I mean, I've had that last. But a lot of times with the rain and stuff, it could wash it off. So they do have UV markers. So that's another thing to think about. And when I winter sow, I put the markers in there. So, you know, because if I do several containers, I want to remember, you know, in the spring when I get ready to look at them, like, what am I growing? So, okay, so that, you know, another thing, you know, I have a watering can, of course. And when I start my seeds, which I'll get into that when I'll show you like my pepper plants And those, my pepper plants, I'm starting the hot peppers. Looks like probably getting into the second week of February. Hot peppers do take a while to germinate. And with my grow light that I showed you, did I show it to you yet? I don't think I did. I'll show you my grow lights. Anyhow, the grow light that I have, that I start pretty much all of my plants under, it gets pretty warm with the lighting. I did show you this one though. You know, my very first one. This got pretty warm too. But let's see. I always water in the tray, and I let it wick up, because when you start indoors, if you water the soil on top, number one, it can start getting mold, the green mold, so you really don't want that. Also, you got to watch, you know, you can get gnats, and if you sprinkle a little cinnamon on top of the dirt, sometimes that helps as far as that goes. But I'll get more into, you know, watering and stuff like that. Also, these containers I bought last year. This is, they're great. I bought these off of Amazon, and I think it was, I got 6 of them for $24.99. I looked at the price, still the same price. And, you know, when you are doing, especially your seed starting soil, I like to dampen it first. And I mix the water in there, not too much. You know, you just want to mix it until it gets where you can form a ball, but then break it up real easy. And I'll show you that when I start doing my peppers. But just to give you an idea of what you might need to seed start. Here is that one tray. Now this I got, where did I get this one from? It says Garland Products Limited. I don't know. I bought it a while ago. I love this. It's really big. So I could put a lot of these in there as my tray. But I like it because when I come in the kitchen and, you know, I can start in here, it keeps the mess in there, all the dirt and everything. Still get it on the floor, still get it on the counter, but most of it goes in the tray. Let's see, another, well, oh, winter sowing. If you're thinking about doing winter sowing, down south, I don't know how that works, you know, for people that live down south. But people up in the northern states, winter sowing is great. And I use usually these trays. This is a little over 2 inches deep. And then I also get it with the plastic dome that goes over the top, the clear, you want a clear top. And, you know, you have to poke the holes in the bottom. Another thing, if you guys have, if you buy a gallon of milk for your family, you can start saving those. That's another container you can winter sow in, and just wash it out really good. Water, if you buy water in the clear jugs, that's another thing you can save to winter sow in. So these are mainly for winter sowing that I use. And other thing I want to show you, I think that's it on the containers. Hopefully that helps you as far as the type of soil to start with for seeds. The other most important thing is your grow light. I'm going to show you the other one that I bought. Let's get this off here. I'm going to switch it around. And my grow room, I don't have a basement, so I use my laundry room, which is great. I have a sink right here that I can use. But this is where my trays go. I can fit 4 of those trays on here. And this is the grow light. After I used that small clamp light, the next year I invested in a nice fluorescent grow grow light. It has 4 fluorescent bulbs in there. So I bought this probably in 2016. And I've never had to replace a bulb yet, knock on wood. This one was made by AgroBrite. One thing they refer to with different lighting for seed starts is the Kelvin and lumens. You know, I went on there to, I can get a headache, so I'm not even going to try and explain it. But this light, I know, probably has about 6,000 kelvins. So if you want to Google it, start checking into it, that's what, it has a lot of heat I get off of here. And when I start my seedlings, I leave my lights on for 12 hours and then turn them off at night because they need a break. You don't want to leave it going 24 hours constantly. That's not good for your plants or your seedlings. So, you know, when you start your seedlings, you want them to be, you know, your peppers, you want them directly under your grow light. This way they're not stretching towards the light. That's called, they get leggy. So you're going to have a real long stem, and if you do that, it's just, you won't have a strong plant. So, you know, like this one, I don't know, there's probably like 1.5 feet from the countertop up to the lights. And, you know, sometimes I might elevate it, like, you know, I could put like something like this upside down and then put my trays on top. And then once they emerge and they start getting bigger, you know, I can lower it. If some of them, sometimes it comes out a little farther from the light, and I just keep rotating the trays. And this heat helps the peppers. The peppers do like heat. Some people use heating mats. I've never had to use one, the heating mat, so, you know, if you notice that it takes a really long time to germinate, number one, it could be the seeds, or number two, they just might take a while to germinate. And I'm just going to tell you, sometimes they do like heat to help germinate. Tomatoes, I don't think so much, but you don't want them to get leggy. Everything you start, you know, you want it under the light. You don't want it off to the side, because they're just going to keep going towards light, and they're going to get really long. And you don't want that. You want strong plants. Another thing, invest in a little fan if you want. Kind of keeps things circulating, and the movement on the tomatoes or peppers will make the stem stronger. I don't always put a fan on, but I will take my hand over the seedlings when they start growing, and I kind of do that little movement just with my hand. I could show you once I get things started. So this is this grow light. I start everything under here, like the tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, the herbs, different things like that. And then after my peppers start getting established, and I want to start my tomatoes, because peppers I'll start first, I will move the peppers into and under my other grow light. And I've been investing in this for a few years, so that grow light was probably just over $100. So I'm seeing them all over the place from $100 to, shoot, $400 or $500. So, you know, just research it. Anything over 4,000 kelvins is good for starting vegetables under. But I went ahead and I got this foldable shelving. I used to have all my grow lights under or on my countertops, different things like that. So I did invest in this shelf, and I'll take it down in the summer. But it was like a little over $50 at Walmart, and it's just a metal one. But I went ahead and I am starting my spinach and my lettuce. So probably in about 2 to 3 weeks, I can start harvesting. Spinach does take a while, But there's a lettuce. I should hopefully be able to start eating off of that 2 to 3 weeks. Hey, Abby, she's got to go out. So under these lights, you know, I put my starts under here, and they do really good. And this light here, I got off of Amazon. This is also by AeroGarden, and it gets really bright. It's a 40-watt plant light as far as the Cumans and the Kelvins and the lumens. I don't know what it puts off. There isn't really a lot of heat. There is a little bit, but not like my other grow light. So I don't know. I'm going to experiment. I am going to start a couple tomatoes under here and peppers to see how long it germinates. But with this here, I can raise these all the way up, you know, as the plants are growing. This is the lowest I can go on here. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different setups. And like I said, I've been buying these slowly over the years. Right now I have 5. And every year they've been fine so far. So, but that is AeroGarden LED grow light, 45 watts. I am starting my lettuce and spinach under there, so I did start those yesterday, so we'll see how long that takes. And I think that's it. You know, different things too with the garden. You know, last year I had a white fly problem. So I bought the neem oil max. They do have them pre-mixed already in different grow centers, but this here that you can mix yourself is better. You've got to pay attention to the instructions. The white fly, I had them really bad last year towards the end of the season. And I was spraying a couple times a day. You don't want to ever do that. It will burn the leaves. It does have the oil in there. So I learned you want to do this like early in the morning, or I really would say in the evening when the pollinators are going to bed, the bees and that. But neem oil, it does help blight. It does help different things. If you Google that, you can read different things on that. But, you know, to keep, this year I'm going to stay on top of my plants. And like the white flies, they go under the leaf. But they suck all the juices out of the leaf and they eventually kill the plant. So you always want to check your plants, especially under the leaves. You know, this is when they go outside and stuff. So I'm getting way ahead here. But anyhow, so hopefully that will help you get started. If this is going to be your first year starting seeds. You know, if you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Another thing, I do have that Facebook group. You could put questions there. The Facebook group is Flying by the Seed of My Plants. It is a private group. I don't make it public. So, you know, I could check to see who wants in to keep the spam people out. We have nice people in the group. We have a lot of seasoned growers in the group. And, uh-oh, I'm almost at my time limit. 34 minutes. Okay, guys, I got to cut it out. Otherwise, my audio goes out. So, you know, if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. And definitely hit the like button. That keeps it going in the circulation. And, all right. So anyhow, I hope that answers any questions you might have. I hope it helps you. And we will talk to you later. All right. Thanks so much.